Hello, hello, check 1 2 1 2. Hello, everybody. Diskette, thank you so much for 3 months. It's good to see everybody today. Redbird, Chaotic, Triforce, Killa Z, Rohan, hey, Evie, hello. Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? I'm doing good today. I'm feeling good. I'm doing well. I'm excited to do some painting. For the first time in, I think, a while, I'm outside of the sketchbook today, so I'll be doing some standalone paintings, which is really fun. I only ever remember to do this, like outside of my regular shipments, when somebody emails me and is like, why isn't there anything up in your store lately? And then I go, oh, right. All of my painting in my off time and on my stream time has been in the sketchbook lately. So I would like to make some more standalone paintings. So that is what we will be focusing on today and probably for the next few painting streams, which I'm very excited about. I also need to think soon about doing some prints because that is my big summertime goal. I'm trying to work up some fun ideas for larger scale paintings and then get those scanned in and fancified and then start selling those as prints because I know some folks have been asking for that as well. So I'm very excited. Probably start with some landscapes and maybe some floral studies for prints early on. But I've also definitely enjoyed in the past doing traditional paintings with digital character illustrations on top. I've done a few in the past with things like Pikmin and Animal Crossing, and I would like to revisit those ideas, mostly because I haven't done it in so long, and I feel like my style has changed so much since then. And I already liked the idea back then, so I think I could like pull it off in a more exciting way now. So these are all the things I'm getting excited about as we sort of slowly move through the spring, heading towards summer. I feel like I always get this surge of creativity at this time of year in terms of producing new things. I just feel like making stuff all the time, which is exciting. As far as partner goes, the numbers are looking good, so I'm going to apply at the beginning of May, which I'm very excited about and only slightly trepidatious about. But also, if we don't get it, we don't get it. It's happened before. It could happen again. That's totally fine. Well, one thing I need to figure out how to do before I start is, since I'm reading chat off the iPad, I need to figure out how to make This is extremely behind the scenes now, but I need to figure out how to make the screen not turn off. So that's probably in the display. Let's see. Aha! Auto lock. Never. Got it. Oh yeah. When I get partner, and it's definitely a matter of when, we're going to have a party on that day. I'm going to do like a super stream to celebrate. And not necessarily like extreme challenge stuff, because I'm trying to take it easy, but we'll probably play some video games and paint some stuff based on those games, and maybe we'll do some audience participation stuff. It'll be a celebration. So I'm really looking forward to that day, for sure. All right, it is... Oh, it's after the hour. Let's switch on over to the desk cam. Boop. I've got my paper taped down and ready to go. One thing I actually don't have, I made sure to set up everything on my desk except for my water-soluble pencil. So I'm going to go grab that really quick, and then we can start sketching. I've got my reference ready to go. It's from a photograph that I took last night. So I will be right back. All right. We can get right into it today. So last night I was taking a lovely stroll because I was told, and rightly so, that to strengthen my back, I need rest and not to put strain on it, but I also need to, move the muscles around. So I've been trying to take nightly strolls, and the light was just... It was overcast, but it was beautiful. It was like just after sunset, kind of that golden hour light. So I'm really looking forward to painting that. Kind of those dulcet blues. Very vibey. And all the trees in the back... We're starting to pop off, starting to bud a little bit, but they're still kind of like those very early spring trees. And I'll show you. I got the reference pulled up right here. It doesn't show up too well on the phone, honestly, because of the way that I have the brightness keyed for the paper. It's a lot darker and more subdued in the photograph, but it's just looking up at the sky and seeing a lot of soft clouds and then sort of those sharp tree shapes over, but also the roof of the house. I just think is a really nice kind of focal point, kind of grounding point for the whole thing. So that doesn't feel like... Because I was originally just going to paint the trees, and they'd feel a little spacey, a little floaty, if they were if it was just them over the clouds. So I'm going to do that. So let's go ahead and sketch those features in. So I'm going to block in this little area of the roof here, including this strange diagonal bit that kind of juts out. I'm not going to tie myself too tightly to any particular perspective, as long as I get the feeling of the silhouette more or less correct. That's all I'm really concerned with here. The lines that follow the top of the roof also lead through a lot of these lines down here for what I will dub to be the sticky outy bit. And then back here is the chimney with one of those little chimney hat mushroom things. Someday I'll know literally anything about architecture or construction. If anyone knows what those chimney hats are for, you let me know. Oh wow, they're called chimney caps? That's actually pretty close to chimney hats, depending on what country you live in. To protect it from rain and debris, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now we have the general house roof shape blocked out. So now I can go in with the trees, get those cooking. And what we want to focus on with the trees is the larger shape, so the bigger branches. So all of those will feed in. And in general, if you're ever unsure where to place a tree or how to properly create the perspective or the comparison size between a tree and anything else in your scene, you can just make kind of a big bubble. You just pretend like there's a huge cloth draped over the tree. And that can help you determine where all the branches will terminate. Ooh, Aggie.io? What's that? Oh, collaborative drawing. Okay, so now that we have roughly where all of those trees are blocked in, as well as the roof, we can start on our big shapes, which is mostly going to be that sky. And we want to have it be really, really loose and blended. So in order to achieve that, you know what we got to do. We got to get a lot of water on that page. So since I know that I need a bunch of blues for this, I'm also thinking about good counterbalance. So in order to make it dark with a blue, I use a burnt umber. I also want to think about things like some red, some orange. There's no orange present in the photograph, but that's when I have to start thinking about color theory and putting colors next to other colors to bring out their strengths. Because we want to enhance what we see and also focus on what we feel. So I'm getting a bunch of blues. Also need the permanent white, of course. All right, so I'm going to move some of these painting utensils over here, and I'm going to get my 1-inch flat brush so we can put down as big an area as possible. Hey there, Tideheart. So we're going to splash down plenty of water in that sky area. We don't really have to worry about wetting the house or anything like that. We're just making sure that the sky area here has a good even coating of water so that we can blend together those colors. And then we're going to go light to dark. So we'll start with a bunch of white and blue. We're trying to make an evening sky, so we don't want to start too bright. I would like the lightest part to still be relatively subdued. So I'm going to wait for that water to absorb in. I'm using my standard Arches hot pressed watercolor paper. And as some of you may know, it's a very thirsty paper, so it is going to soak up that water super quick. So I need to make sure that I'm ready to pounce. All right, it looks like it's almost ready. So I'm going to go in and hit a bunch of those spots with where the lightest color is going to be. And then start working my way darker and darker. An anonymous gift? Thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated. Now I'm adding a bit of white into the blue. When I do it in a heavier mixture like this, it's not to lighten the color as much as it is to dull the color. Oh yeah, the channel point requests are definitely open today. I can't guarantee how quickly I can get to it, but I definitely will get to it during the stream. Cool Kumatora. My pleasure. Okay, so now we have the sky kind of doing its thing, blending out. The page is almost completely dry now. This paper dries so fast, which is a good thing, honestly, because I want to be able to get right to those trees. And I also need this area of the house to dry before I put any of the darker layers. Now, I don't really have to pay attention to painting in the lines on the house, because the blue area that I painted is the lightest part of the house. So anything that I paint next, I will have to be quite precise. Because the roof is a very dark value. So I'm going to have to paint with some precision. And I need to think about how dark I want to make that dark value. In the photograph, it's very dark. And I think I'd kind of like to keep that feel. I'm going to get a smaller brush ready, because I know that I'll need to paint around some pretty tight-cut corners. I'm going to go in with some ultramarine. Make sure that the paintbrush is very clean, so I don't want any of that white paint getting in. Let me grab ultramarine. And burnt umber. Yeah, it looks pretty darn dark. Well, well, well. Casey, hello. Welcome in. Hello, Raiders. Make yourselves at home. Get comfy. How was your stream? Chaotic but fun. Sometimes it do be like that. Hi, hi, hello, hello. I don't usually paint with this much precision, so it's really... It's good to have friends here to see me stress over these corners. It'll be fine. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, because most of the focus is going to be on the trees. But I would like to get the tops of the roof more or less correct. Because anywhere where there's an edge up against another edge, that's an area of focus, and that's one of the things you really zoom in on with your eyes, even subconsciously. I'm leaving a little variation in some of these strokes, mostly because If they dry in a weird, uneven way, then it'll kind of imitate the last light of the day playing on those roof tiles, which, you know, is advantageous. You don't want the roof to appear as a solid block. And a really nice thing about flat brushes is you can just kind of chisel them out here. So you set them at an angle and then just pull. And you can get yourself some really nice roofs. Well, my gosh, hello everyone who's given me a follow. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here hanging out with us today. Okay, I need a little bit more water. And we'll mix up a bit more of this roof color as well. And I'll need to keep these basic color combinations on the palette for the trees, because I want the trees to be a very similar value to the roof, at least at the tops. And then coming down toward the roof, I want them to be slightly lighter, almost imperceptibly. Wowie wow! Thank you so much, Anonymous, for all of those gift subs. Goodness gracious me. It was very generous, thank you. Now I'm going to shore up some of the lines up here, but not with my flat brush. I'm going to use my calligraphy brush a little later on. Just before I start working on the trees. I'm going to do the same with the inside of some of these roof areas. For this one back here, I'm just going to kind of take the edge of the flat brush and move it down, because I just really need that straight line there. And there's also a delicate little line right here that I can use the corner of the brush for. Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of these fine details I really want to leave up to a bit of a smaller brush edge. So I'm going to switch to the calligraphy brush. Try to keep kind of a chisel-y tip on it, though. It's depending on how much water and paint you have on the calligraphy brush, you can give it different edges. It's a natural hair, so we'll hold its shape without springing back like a synthetic. And sometimes you definitely want that synthetic snapback. I definitely want that in my flat brushes, so that they don't fray and lose their edge. Yes, indeed, we've got a ref on the go. I took a photograph last night on a walk. Right here. Just have a rooftop and some trees. So that is what we're working with today. Well, thanks for stopping by, Ducks. All right, I'm going to mix up some more of that dark color. So that's ultramarine, burnt umber, and a little bit of red, just primary red, just to warm it up a little bit. Now, these don't need to be 100% accurate lines, because it actually helps the feeling and the flow of the painting a little bit more if the lines have movement to them. That doesn't mean you can just have lines going all hither and yon, but it does mean you can express yourself with the lines. This little dark bit right here in the window is actually the reflection of the roof over here, but it's reflected in a little window that's going to be drawn in. But it's a very dark value, like, area in the painting. So while I have this value on my brush, I want to be able to take advantage of it. It's a very helpful thing, good practice to get into. So when you've got a color on your brush, just look around your painting for other areas with similar value, and then you can sort of dot those in as you go. It saves you from having to go back and remix colors over and over. And you can see the brush is holding its chisel shapes. It's like this, like flat on that side, and then like thin. Kind of like a flathead screwdriver. Just going back and shoring up that roof a little bit. Well, thank you, Redbird, for gifting that sub. Okay, that's enough roof detailing for now. I want to get it at least semi in place before I start working on these trees. So now I'm going to go up and put together some more of this color, but this time I'm going to make two different bits. I'm going to make a bit that is purely dark, and then I'm going to make the same color combination with some white in it. Okay, so now I can start blocking in some of those distant background trees. Yes, I am working off a reference. It's right here. It's a photograph that I took late yesterday evening on a walk. Now there's distant trees back here in this corner. So I've spread out, you can see I've spread out the bristles so that I can make little dry brush shapes over here. To indicate a lot of very distant tree branches. So I have to be careful about these parts down at the edge just because they're touching the roof. So I need to make sure to block them in at least a little bit carefully so that they don't, overlap the roof. Now, it's not the huge deal. I can always, paint the roof again. But anything to save me that step would be very helpful.
Are you leaving me?
We're all leaving.
And Pluto Star, thank you so much for gifting that sub to the channel. Okay, so we have this light color set in. I'm going to use that for the basis of the trees here. I'm glad you're having a nice time. I certainly am. Love to paint a cozy vibe while having a cozy vibe, you know? Oh, that rules! I'm so glad. Looks like we're dreadfully close to having another art giveaway. Well, thank you. I've been trying to be better about posting more frequently to other social media platforms, including my Instagram, and I just got the Artful app. And that's been a really fun one. It's dreadfully slow right now because they're still in beta, I think. It's just a baby website right now. But I really like the design of it, and also the fact that it's such an art-forward website. I think it's so easy to see someone's just full gallery in a very satisfying way. I think once they get like new servers and stuff, it's going to be really nice. It's one of those things where I'm excited to see where it goes in the future. I also love that there's no algorithm. I'm a big fan of chronological website listing. Artful, A-R-T-F-O-L. It's pretty neat. It was designed with artists in mind, which is fun. I love the the posting tools, because baked into the actual posting system is things like fan art, a landscape, sketching, that kind of stuff, which is really neat. And since it's chronological and not algorithm based, you don't need to put like 10,000 hashtags to get found, which is nice. It's just a matter of like you post and then it appears on the front page. It reminds me a lot of how DeviantArt used to be back in like way back in the day, in the early 2000s. So I'm just kind of peppering in some of the super duper small branches that kind of turn into these collective little dashes and dots and things before I go in with some tighter brushwork on the actual branches themselves. Pretty soon here I'll have to get my smallest brush out, which is my little rigging brush. So I might want to do that now, because a lot of these branches that I'm putting in are a little bit bigger than they should be. Yeah, they've definitely got a lot of stuff to work out, for sure. I'm excited at the prospect of folks trying their best to find like a new way. Because I know a lot of people like me, like I've struggled with the Instagram algorithm for a long time. Just in terms of like, it feels kind of like no one's watching, or even if they're following you, sometimes they just don't see the stuff that you post, which is like, that's a problem. If you're following an artist and not seeing the art that they post, it's like, well, then why post it, you know? It gets kind of discouraging. It's just also rough because these companies like Instagram and like Twitter and Facebook, they're just owned by these conglomerate supergiants that have a lot more resources at hand and a lot more computing power, which makes it kind of intimidating because, like, how do you build a new thing in the face of that and be like, this is better? It's tough. It's very tough. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Okay, I'm going to go get my rigging brush. I'll be right back. All right. Should probably use my big brush to actually mix those colors together. Hey, it's Abby. Hello. Welcome in, Raiders. How y'all doing? Did you have a good stream today? Thank you. I love using the rigging brush. It's so delicate. You can get those really, really great long branches, but also have the control. Like, look how long the bristles are on this thing. It allows you to get a lot of control. Hey, Abby, how you doing? Geese Peep, I told you. We're not going to do any of that egg nonsense until Abby and I do another collaborative art stream. We got to get something figured out. So, the best way that I've found to describe how using a rigging brush works is like power steering in a car. You turn your wheel very slightly with power steering, but it makes the whole car wheel thing drivetrain? Who knows? I've never seen a car before. But it makes the whole thing proportionally turn a lot more, because way back in the olden days, you had to just turn it by brute force. And anyone who's ever had their power steering go out knows how terrifying it is to have to do that manually these days. But the rigging brush is like that. It gives you that proportional control. If you just turn it a little bit with a regular brush, it's going to register every shaky hand movement. But with the rigger, it's like going proportional. So I can move it just a little bit, or my hand can shake all it wants, but it moves smoothly because those bristles are so long. It's a very fascinating brush, and it's called the rigger because originally it was used to paint the rigging on sailboats in old paintings, which is something that I found out from a James Gurney video. Which I love, that there's just this specialty brush just for painting tiny little bits of rope on sailing boats. It's a very good brush to have. I don't have a lot of, well, that's a lie. I have quite a few specialty brushes. I don't use a lot of them often. If you've seen a bunch of my streams, you know that I generally stick to my flat brush, my calligraphy brush. Those are my main guys. But it is good to have some specialty brushes on hand, especially if you paint a lot of trees like I love to. I love, love, love painting trees, and this is essential. Because these spindly little fellows have all sorts of tiny limbs. Calligraphy brush is definitely a really fun one to have. And I did not realize it early on in my painting career. Not until I watched a video of one of the Studio Ghibli artists painting a background. And they almost exclusively use the calligraphy brush. And it gives them that really, really tight control over the fine details. But it can also be used very broadly. Because any round brush has that versatility, right? If you smush it down, it expands out. Speaking of an eventual Abby Russell collaboration, I was thinking the other day how fun it would be to collaborate with streamers who pretty much just play video games, and how much I just love to watch people play games and paint while watching them. And I thought that would be really fun to just have that as a stream, but like obviously with conversation, but like watching someone play a game, especially a game that I wouldn't play otherwise. And I was thinking specifically, oh, Abby, you're here. I was thinking specifically of that new Resident Evil game, because I love watching people play scary games, but I don't like playing them myself. I dislike it very much, but I love watching people play them. So I was thinking for that new Resident Evil game, what we should do is you should play it, and I should paint along. I could paint that big vampire lady. I could paint whatever. I could paint the village. The village is very beautiful. So later on when my stream is over, let's talk about this, because it's something I would really like to do. I could revive Game & Gouache, which I think is still one of the best series names I've ever come up with. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, I will. I'll put you in a stately general's outfit in the background of one of the castles. I also, just as an observer, I think part of the reason, honestly, why I love watching people play those games, it's not to feel scared. It's just the environmental design is so friggin' beautiful, and it's something I feel like maybe gets overlooked sometimes in those games, because when you're playing them, you're so amped, right? When you're not solving the puzzles. With the puzzles, you look at the environment. But when you're like running away from creatures or like getting attacked by stuff, you're not looking at like, oh, the stonework is very beautiful, you know? So it's kind of nice to have an outside observer to appreciate those things. Because I love the artistry of games like that. What someone needs to do is paint the tall vampire lady as if she's at Sears Portrait Studio. Maybe with like the laser background or, you know, something like that. Just real like, just a real fuzzy camera, just real 80s. Oh yeah, the Yarny game. I have seen that. It's very beautiful. Some of the environments are almost like photorealistic in that one. It's very astounding. It's like one of those unappreciated technical achievement type games. Oh, hey, Jenga. How's it going? Now, while I have this brush, I can also do the detailing on the house. I'll get a lighter color for this. Now to approximately draw in these house lines for the siding. Again, I'm not going to fret too much about the perspective on these, just as long as they roughly line up with what I've got for my roof. Thank you, Geese Peep. A great hand steadying trick that I would only recommend doing if you know that the paper is dry, which I don't always remember. That part is you can stick your pinky out like this and just kind of use it to steady your hand. And you can also do like kind of a rolling motion if you don't want to move your entire arm too much. There we go. You know, look, this is I'm really showing my tummy to the audience here, but I do that pinky sticking out thing just instinctually, and it's not because I think I'm fancy or trying to be fancy, but when I was younger, I got called out for it all the time. Like when I was just holding a glass, I would stick my pinky out like that. And people were like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. It just feels like the right way to hold a glass. I don't know. I think people thought I was trying to put on airs. Trying to be a fancy pants. I remember going to a real rough and tumble bar once. And as I was holding my glass, I stuck my pinky out. And nobody said anything, but everyone looked at me. It was, but I keep doing it. It's just instinctual. Like, I can't help it. I was born to be a little Lord Fauntleroy, I guess. So now I'm back to the flat brush because I'm detailing a little bit on the roof. I'm just adding in shadows underneath these little awnings. Okay, I'm back to the calligraphy brush now because I want to kind of shore up some of these larger branches, make the trees have a bit more presence. All right. I think this one is pretty much done. I thought I would have time for 2 today, but we're already at an hour and 35. So I should probably take the tape off this one and then do the sketch request. So get ready for the tape peel. Here, I'll put the microphone down by it. It's always so nice to do that tape peel and reveal that nice clean edge. So I've got my signing pen here. Let me go ahead and give that a sign. What is... Oh, the date today is 4/20. We love to make chill things on 420. Let's see. Yeah, somewhere Snoop Dogg's smiling today. So I will gingerly move this to the side to fully dry. And then that will be up in the store after the stream is over. And then I need something to draw this request on. So let me go grab a little bit of scrap paper. All right. Oh, have a good night, Redbird. See you next time. That was me trying to remember what day it is. True 420 Classic. See you on Thursday. Okay, so let me just pull up a reference. Mother 3. Kumatora. Kumatora. I love the original like clay figures and stuff for the Mother series. It's just good art. Like it's just classic. I'm going to try to make it look a little bit like the original clay sculpture. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you had a good time. This was a good chill stream for me. Maximum relaxment. Hope y'all had a similar experience. And then, of course, a product of the era wearing that hoodie dress. which looks very comfy. And there we go. I would love to be better at caricature. I've done a lot of portrait drawings in my time. I think at the peak of it, because I was doing a ton of portraits in like maybe 2014, 2015, and I had done around 4,000 on Twitter over a period of years, not like in one day. So I got really good at kind of interpreting faces, but caricature to me is something that's kind of a little more artful than that, because it is like enhancement of expression and also nailing down kind of the idea or the striking features of a person, which is very difficult. It's super difficult work. Marlo is incredible. Her work is friggin' stellar. Well, with that, we come to the end of another wonderful stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and hanging out with me today while I did a little bit of painting. We'll be back on Thursday with Copic Thursdays, the Chaos stream. For those who have never been to one of the Copic Thursdays before, it's when you, the audience, get to vote on what Copic markers I use to color with. And we get a random assortment of 4 colors after all the votes are tabulated, and I have to make do with whatever colors I get. Those are the colors I get. I cannot supplement. So it's hectic, it's fun, it's chaotic. I usually take drawing suggestions for subjects from the audience as well. So if that sounds fun to you, please come back for that. And then we'll be painting again on Saturday. So, yeah. What a hoot. Hoot and a half I had today. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Or if you are just getting the day started, I hope you enjoy Or if you're asleep right now, don't have any bad dreams, please. And I will see you on Thursday. Oh, it looks like Nuri's going right now. We should go raid Nuri's stream. There we go. Everyone hop in the raid bus. We'll hop on over there. I don't know how much time is left in his stream, but it's always a good time over there. So send some love his way. And I'll see y'all next time.